So most businesses don't make it in the first year. How come? Why is that? Let's take that question and put it out to everyone in this podcast, and let's get talking. So, hi, I'm Calvin. Welcome again to another podcast where we chat about small business. And our guest today is Ruben. We're going to ask him to introduce ourselves. And again, I'm supported by my host, Antoinette. So hi everyone. And Ruben, if you can just say a little.
Good afternoon, I'm Ruben. I'm running a couple of small businesses, old age homes, online schooling, an electrical company, and also a liquor store.
And you've just also this year collaborated with me in Sesfikile.
That's correct, the Sesfikile Academy of Learning.
Right, and you want to get that off the ground as well.
And then most of the people probably have seen our faces together 20 years ago already.
When we started so long ago, eh? And now the Academy is bringing us back together again. Okay, so so that is us, and we can just talk about the topic of just the problems or the challenges of the difficulties you get in small business. And the nice thing is that we just coming from our own experience. Nobody's experts. We just sharing our own story in terms of what do we think, how does one overcome it. What are the problems, and is it surmountable, and how we've managed to surmount it or failed at some stage or overcome it again. So let's get started. Right, okay, so Antoinette, if you can just get us the ball rolling and just give us a little bit from your side.
Hi there everybody. Again, my name is Antoinette. I'm a small business owner, entrepreneur, like most people out there, getting started, trying my best. And today I want to just say that one of the challenges that I find with starting a small business is funding, and is getting that enough capital to be able to start that business. I've gone through many processes of applications of trying to get it as a female even in this country. It should be easier, one would think.
You mean approaching the banks?
Approaching banks, asking for facilities, asking, going to accredited places like you want to have with your academy. The same thing with like with CETA, for example. With me it would be like the DTI or those kind of places.
Yes.
That I would have to go for funding. It's just such a technical process. It's like with this much, and trying to understand it from a comprehension part is difficult.
Because they got to invest in your business.
Yes, they're going to.
Not only just the technical part, your other problems also, they want so much collateral.
Yeah.
Anybody who starts up now doesn't really have that type of collateral. So now you've got to try and find somebody else to actually stand in for you as collateral.
Using their property?
Or
Yes.
maybe using some of the materials.
Yeah.
And then law restricts you with so many things, because there's certain things that you aren't allowed to use. Let's say, for instance, with the tour guide company that we've got.
Right.
The manuals are written for each company specifically. So I cannot use your manuals.
Right.
Years ago we actually had to do our own manuals and things. You remember how we were running around trying to get print papers out and things. But nowadays you're sitting with SEQA, the Qualifications Authority, and you've got to go according to their unit standards and those kind of things.
Yep, I know.
People don't have that funds to actually start with that kind of thing.
Now you see, Ruben, now you're talking about the CETAs. When I started my training company way back, how way back when we started, and I was still at the Belleville Library setting up these big monitors and carrying these. Now you've got these flat screen monitors, but in those days I had to set up at the library, put it in the cupboard, take out these big monitors out of the cupboard, and people were the thing that always ask first is your qualifications CETA approved, and then I know the problems and the red tape and everything. So a small business it's like almost that the red tape is sort of holding you back.
It is. It's different.
That is certainly a problem to overcome. How did you find the solution for that, or what is your answer for that? What did you say?
Before I answer that question, just with your industry, you in the tourist industry, right?
That's one of the industries.
One of the are there differences in the red tape between industries? Is there differences, or is it just a general kind of everyone?
I think it's in general, a lot of your laws coming from government side is not really supporting the end user, guys like us, that's
The small business
just starting out.
Yeah.
Because they basically want specific things to be in place. And your problem is once you start dealing with government, that they've got a set of guidelines and that guideline has to be followed. So if one of your papers, let's say for instance your portfolio of evidence, that thing they give you a list, and on that list it's got to be your index and it's got to be the ID photo and then it's got to be your learner's contact, and it steps like that. And you cannot change any of the two things around. It has to be in that format.
Right.
Which actually makes it difficult because you've got to go do a course just to find out how that manual works.
Yeah. Now, again, we've been talking now about the red tape in terms of small business, and it can affect any small business. But look at now with COVID again. Again, we're going to bring up COVID because now in training, what we're talking about training is now everything is moved to online training. You see, so isn't that an opportunity for a small business person to offer online training? Like even if it's Zoom, because what did I know about Zoom? The first time I heard about Zoom was with COVID, you see.
Yes.
So I think technology gives us the solution to bridge a lot of those red tape, because if I always firmly believe if you've got your market in terms of you offering a good service to that person and you are equipping that person and you are adding value to that person. And I don't want to criticize the training industry because I have been lecturing students, but the quality of training has gone so much down so that when every time I look at young people, I always look at what are the quality of training that they've got. And then again, I was shocked when I heard that the level of matric pass rate is no longer 50%. It's
Really?
now, you need 30%.
Wow.
And you can pass your matric.
Oh, wow.
You see, that was in the Sunday Times recently this year that I still read that. So, and they don't even talk about all the people that drop out of school, they don't even get to matric. How many people of standard 8 then drops out of school? And it's this thing about unemployment and the high levels of unemployment. So you can look at our rate of unemployment. And it's the statistics is that every year that unemployment level grows by another percentage. But that takes the overall South African percentage, and I think we're now at 28% or 29%.
It's actually higher.
Could be even 30 now, but
we don't get the true levels.
We don't get the true levels, but now you take that's just everybody, adults and young people. Now you take young people and it goes up to about 60% because the young people are staying at home. They didn't even make standard 8 or so. But why I get so excited about this is because there is a lot of opportunity in education and in teaching and in training. And I know
using your technology to
do that part. And I know you've also been training people.
Yes, I have been. I've been with what I do is the direct sales and marketing. So I have to train people in a class. Obviously, it's not as on that scale that you do, but it's a 2-day kind of process of basic information of how to make a sale, how to compile a pitch, how to dress, how to behave, how to carry yourself, and then also working habits. What are your working habits when you work? How strategic are you? How do you plan your day? That kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I've got a feeling that I'm probably running into the slaughterhouse myself. I'm not even being led to it. Outcomes-based education does not work.
Yeah.
I'll give you a simple example. 20 years ago, Calvin and myself were actually business partners. We had full daytime jobs. And we were running around in the evenings, running around to get computers moved from when we were actually had 3 training centers at the same time. Moving computers around, getting all the programs loaded, getting materials for the people.
Giving day courses and evening courses.
And
wow.
So you're running
we
around.
even wrote letters to Microsoft to try and assist us, saying, you know, we've got this problem, we've got the computers, but we don't have the license or the money for licensed software. But these guys just never answer you. But I've had guys in class with me when I was still doing the AutoCAD and web design. These are guys that walk into your class, and this is civil engineers, city planners, and these kind of guys, which is obviously working with millions of drawings on a daily basis. And these guys, when they walk into your class, you're already anxious because you don't know, is this guy going to be the guy that asks you that question that you don't know? And within the first 3 to 5 minutes, you realize, but these guys don't actually know the program.
And they come from big companies.
Yes, and some of them
and they're not even trained.
I remember I had a city planner once that did a 6-month AutoCAD course. And I thought this is going to be my problem. And within the first about 5 minutes, I realized there's so many functions about AutoCAD that this guy knew nothing about. And that is why when Kelvin and myself started out many years ago, we focused on quality. We didn't worry about accreditation. We didn't worry about we wanted people to know how the program works and how to do a proper job.
Yeah, but now, Ruben, let me just tell you, when you talk about when we were starting 20 years ago, you know how we ran around with doing all things and trying everything, but you're not really getting anything done, you know. It's only now, yes, do you find that's a problem with small business people today? It's they've got to wear so many hats that they are doing too many different things, running around too much.
I'm going to get the quote wrong, but it's everyone has read the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And there's somewhere in the book where he says, you can't do it alone. You need a group of people. You need a collaboration. Because you can't don all those hats at the same time. As much as we want to juggle that when we're starting off, it usually ends up on a burnout.
Ruben, do you have somebody helping you? Or do you collaborate?
In the beginning, I had to do everything myself. And you know, I've done a couple of these courses, and the first thing that every business class teaches you, go do a SWOT analysis to get your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities and threats. But even before you could get to there, what people don't tell you is that probably one of your biggest partners in any business is your family. Because you're actually taking your family's time, you're taking your own time, and nobody makes time for themselves anymore. So you running around trying to get business sorted. I remember there was a time when I was actually sitting looking at my family but busy with work. I cannot talk to anybody, and I'm sitting here getting things sorted, but you're not there for them. So you know, everybody shouts time management, but how do you actually manage your time running 7 or 8 companies at the same time? Then it becomes a big problem.
A collaboration with you and your family.
Yes, so what I'm actually doing at this stage is I'm taking strong individuals. I don't know, can we mention a couple of names? In the tourism industry, there's a lady by the name of Audrey Kling. She was known as Audrey Naken before. She actually has her own company, training tour guides. So she is the strongest in the Western Cape, training tour guides. So what do? I went to Audrey and I said, Audrey, I'm struggling to get my business up and going.
I agree.
You find that
you
for
find the
people
person
that are
doing what
already
you want to do,
successful,
that are winning at what you want to do.
And then
That's
and
it,
you ask them and say, how are you winning? What are you doing to win? Teach me.
or can I help you? Can I?
What I've actually done is I've asked her to join my business, because for every training company, you need to have 2 facilitators, 2 assessors, 2 moderators. And I asked her, Audrey, would you mind to be my second assessor and moderator?
Fantastic.
And she said to me, Ruben, with pleasure. So in other words, where I don't see myself as competition for her, she's the queen of tourism, or tour guide trading. So I don't see myself as competition.
Yeah, but I think, Ruben, you got her on board. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, you don't feel you're doing everything yourself.
Because remember, there's so much paperwork and stuff that I need to go through. And she said to me, Ruben, I'll handle all of that for you. So obviously, you know, at some stage she's going to say to me, listen, I'm not happy with you buying me 2 pancakes anymore. She will probably want some money. But I don't mind, because this is growing with it. I mean, we've got the Minister of Tourism that is on our side. We've got all the people from Catsita that is on our side. And now that these people know that she's actually on board, it's amazing how the doors are opening, because more people
But now, if we talk small business again, You know, and most of the small business owners that I hear or know of or have experienced has got their wives on board or their partners on board. Now, I never did that in the beginning because, I mean, my wife never knew anything about computers and didn't really want to get on board with anything. But now you look at getting somebody on board, then there's the issue of, okay, am I going to outsource something? How am I going to pay that person? You see, unless you get a partner on board, like a partner, and that partner can also let you down, or you putting faith in your partner because he's bringing money to the table, but he doesn't probably bring experience to the table or hasn't yet proved himself, or you're spending money on staff. So I'm always curious with the people that start their business, and I ask them, but now, who is your partner, and how much are they invested in your small business? Or are they just seeing it as a springboard for their business?
Okay, sorry, if I could just interrupt here. What I do is there's a couple of characteristics that I look in any business person.
Right.
Somebody like Audrey, this is somebody that's got integrity, she's got honesty, she's got quality training. I look at Fabian Jones, Fabulous Tours.
Yes.
This guy has got the best vehicles, his vehicles is the latest, his vehicles is always clean, it's roadworthy, all his licenses in place, he's honest, and he's kind and he's humble.
Yeah.
Just to give you a bit of a joke, I actually worked with Fabian for 2 days, not knowing that he was the owner of the company.
Okay.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was-
Undercover.
Yeah, but not only that, he actually made me feel your tour guide and your driver needs to work as a team. If they don't work as a team, your whole tour is actually a bit of a flop.
Yes.
Now with somebody like Fabian, to actually have him on board, and he was watching me and I didn't know it, and then there was something else that came through and we needed his vehicle for another day.
Yes.
But remember that he wasn't part of this tour. We actually brought him in on the last minute to help us out.
Right.
So on the third day, that vehicle was actually supposed to be on another tour.
Right.
But then I said to him, I've got to phone the owner of this company now and I've got to talk to the owner about the vehicle and everything. And he sat there and he was just smiling.
Because he
And
was
then-
the owner.
And then when I phoned him, his phone rang.
But why is it that owners don't look like owners? They always look so relaxed. They never got the suit and tie. They don't look like a rep or a
You know what I
salesperson.
learned from Fabian? You know what I learned from Fabian? A boss says no. A leader listens. And I mean, he actually, when I went to him and I said, listen, we've got an emergency. We need this vehicle for tomorrow morning. He immediately made a plan.
Yes.
Okay, first made me laugh about it, thinking, I'm actually phoning the boss.
Yeah.
And he made me believe that it was just a normal driver.
Yes. Yes.
And that is one thing I think many business people lose, is that humbleness.
Right. Right.
Nowadays, when people owe you money, everybody runs.
So the first thing a person says, I'm starting my own business, I'm the boss.
I'm my own boss.
I'm my own boss now.
Yeah,
So it's like, you can see like, and as soon as they get a big sale, they just spend it and, buy a car, big fancy car, and then a few years later or a year or two later, they've got to sell that car again because they investing their money or their profit in the car instead of growing the business, putting it back in the business. Do you get that feeling as well with small business owners? They have that sense of bravado, arrogance, sort of I know it all, I've got all the answers.
In my case, my friend Tim, he said to me, Antoinette, boss hat on. Stop being polite and trying to be soft and boss. You must boss up and act like a boss and walk the walk, talk the talk.
Yes,
So
yes.
some people need that part,
Yes.
just as the confidence to get out there, because
Yes.
you doubt yourself and you're kind of insecure
Yes.
if you're starting out on a small business.
Yes.
You don't know everything, so you're
True.
always constantly backfooting yourself.
Yeah.
So step into your
doubting
role.
yourself.
Yeah, step into that role.
If you look at examples, I look at guys like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, not
No.
not like Elon Musk, Richard Branson, these kind of guys. I mean, they're friendly, they're happy, and
Yes.
you will never say that that's a boss. Donald Trump is a boss.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can
You feel
see,
it.
you can
Yeah.
feel it, and everything is gold, and you can feel he's got that sense of pride, you know.
Yeah.
But we're not here to judge.
No,
you know,
I'm not
to say
judging
that.
the man. Look,
Yeah, yeah.
let's give the devil his due. Definitely, Donald Trump, the way in the market, remember this is a guy that comes out of construction.
Yeah.
So he knows, construction workers, you've got to work different than somebody in a class.
Yes.
A construction worker, you've got to try and hit with a brick once in a while, where with somebody in a class, you've got to say, listen, I have to repeat this thing again.
You see,
I think what you pointed out now as well with this construction thing is, if you're going to start your own small business, do it from the gap that you saw in your current working environment. Say you've been just working at a job, and you can see the pitfalls. You know where they are going wrong, but it's like you don't have any power to say anything. But if you start out, then what you have is you have experience, and you can then turn something into something very successful.
You can.
So what could initially be seen as a problem, or could be seen as a challenge or a difficulty, you could overcome it just due to the due fact that you've got experience behind you, you know?
Yeah, because it's easy nowadays to put somebody through a class and give him a certificate and say, go do that job. Because once they go there, they've got no idea what is really going on. Just to give you an idea, many years ago, I did the A+ technician course on how to fix computers, assemble computers and those. And I went to a friend of mine who's he's actually didn't even finish primary school, but he had his own shop.
yes.
And I went to him and said to him, listen here, I've got my own certificate, now I'm an A+ technician. And he said, oh, that's good. He says, can you fix computers? I said, yeah. He said, okay, there's a whole bunch of computers, build us up a couple of computers.
Yeah.
And with the very first computer, I started struggling.
Yes.
So I went to him and I said, Paulus, what is going on here? And he started laughing. He said, you've got the paper, figure it out. Luckily, he did go through it. But then I take, once again, it comes back to quality training. Audrey, for instance. Audrey prepped us that when we started in tourism, no matter what hiccup you got, you knew immediately how to solve it. Between her and her husband, they both tour guides, by the way, both trained assistants and moderators.
But isn't that a tough business to get in if you are a small business owner, or isn't it sort of like everybody knows each other type of thing?
Everybody knows each other, but that is how the word actually spreads. And it is quite amazing how the people there support each other. And what I liked about Audrey's way of training, for instance, she was the soft part, nice and gentle. Where her husband Ian was this. So everybody was nervous when they got around Ian. Where with Audrey we could make jokes and things like that. But in the long run, you realize that Ian is not really that type of person. But Ian is
He puts on his boss hat.
He puts on his boss hat.
There you go.
But he doesn't have an attitude on him. And we actually had some of the guys that were struggling on our course, and I thought Ian would lose his temper there.
Yes.
And that actually amazed me, because that's where you actually saw there's a softer side to him. And he actually took the guy and he said, this and this is how we actually need to do it. Try your own. Don't talk, close your eyes, don't look at the other people and everything. And he made it so easy that this guy also passed his course, because he motivated him.
I think you spoke now about Audrey and her husband. I think when you're a small business, you are much more accessible to people, Bigger businesses, there's so many, like we talked about, red tape and departments and things to get through.
HR department, finance department.
But if you connect with another small business owner, and another small business owner connects with another small business owner,
Then it becomes a big business.
Yeah, because everybody is approachable and open to ideas, and
But it's a sharing of ideas.
Yes.
It's not a one-sided kind of whereas in big corporates there's one beneficiary and everybody working to make sure that as with the small business we're collaborating with each other and everybody wins at the end of the day.
That's once again, that's where you need people with honesty and integrity.
That's
honesty,
a given.
Honesty is one of the things that are in many small businesses. When you owe somebody money, don't run away. Don't send them an email, don't send them a WhatsApp. Go there, go face the guy and say to him, listen, I've got a problem. Then guys are willing to accommodate you.
Give you more time.
But if you start hiding, then people are obviously going to get worried, where's my money?
Your text messages or not. But now, okay, just to wrap up, I just want to say, you see, because there are a lot of challenges, it's a given that you've got to overcome a lot. But isn't there something today working in the favor of the small business owner? What would you say is making their chance so much bigger compared to the past? In other words, there's an excitement because it gives the opportunity to really succeed. And my belief is, and there could be different views, and that is that technology,
that was what I was gonna say.
online, web, and
That's
online
what I
is
was
giving
thinking, yeah.
really, it's sort of leveling the playing fields in a sense, because now you can also reach a greater market.
Yes.
Now you can also
Social
put,
media is
you can put you can put your product name out there. So there is still a lot of benefits for the small business person if they can just tap into it. So what would you say would you be able to tap?
Mine would be social media. It's something that I found very challenging in the beginning because it's not just setting up a Facebook page. It's not just setting up it gets quite technical for your business. It's very specific, target audience, targeted kind of thing for your target market. The social media platforms keep a tight eye on ethics and how you conduct yourself on those platforms. And sometimes you need to outsource that person to actually do that.
And a cell phone. Everybody's got a
And
cell
everybody's
phone.
got a cell
And that's
phone,
recent,
smartphone.
eh?
Yeah.
And that empowers the small business owner. Ruben, how are you with technology? Can you still work your cell phone?
Yes.
Or there's a whole block when we start, you still got this old block one.
Nokia 1, 2, 3, that was it.
And Nokia in those days.
Yes, we've got to grow with technology, and I agree completely with Antoinette. What we have to do is you actually have to grow with the times.
Yes, you have to.
And one of the things that I've noticed, people are not interested in these long web pages anymore. People want this little ad on Facebook, they want a little Twitter thing, they want a photo on Instagram.
It's the generation now. Everything is instant. Everything is
Because
instant gratification.
these things are not going to really have an impact while we prehistorics are still around. What is going to change is with the youngsters. Oh, look at Cecil, for instance. I had a meeting with Cecil this morning.
Yes.
And it was amazing. Cecil is my youngest son.
Yeah.
And it is amazing how many things he got sorted while we're sitting there at the
How
table.
old is he?
He's 30 this year.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The thing is, he was busy managing 2 restaurants, and he's still busy on his Facebook, and he's chatting to his girlfriend, and he's chatting to his mom, and he's doing a million things, but everything is going from the phone. I actually had a good talk to him about the web page and everything. And this morning he said to me, the thing is, we're still thinking old age.
Right. So it's a mindset.
It's a mindset because the youngsters now. I said to him, for instance, we were actually looking at the Facebook of Sesfikile Academy.
Yes.
Just to give you an idea there, we posted on the 14th of February and on the 19th of February something on Sesfikile's Facebook.
Right.
But it was 5 things at the same time. And he said to me, you know what? This is what I do. And he just flipped it with his finger, and it actually took away all those ads, and it went to his next message.
Yes.
So he said to me what he would recommend for me, and can I say it here?
Yes, absolutely.
He said to me, what I must do is on a Friday, because you can have it scheduled.
Yes.
On Friday, you send 1 picture
Yes.
with hashtags.
Yeah, so you see that the young people are very much clued in with social media and
That's what I was saying. Like sometimes most businesses outsource that person to actually run it on an hourly basis or bi-hourly basis to actually see how your viewers
The youngsters has actually got this down to finding. Okay, now one of the things that I must say is Cecil was about 7 years old. Him and his brother that was 2 years older than him. The two of them
They
were
grew
actually,
up with it.
Yeah, they grew up. They were writing web pages when they were 7 years old.
So they
Cecil
grew
actually
up
did
with it.
Visual Basic Programming when he was about 9.
Right now there's coding for 7-year-olds.
It's happening now for
children.
primary school children.
Yes.
You see
Developing apps, all of these things, young age.
Now you see, if you take the young person and small business and small business, I think that the young people, their biggest challenge is not their ideas and their ability with technology, but it's really funding, because they don't have that funding, you see. So I really think so I think they really got to get family on board, what they call angel investors. Get the family on board, get people to get them started. give them a chance. But you see, their parents have got a lot of the mindset is you get a good grade, you got to go to college, and you got to go to university, and you got to get to get a job, and that's the route. So they're not so inclined to encourage or to stimulate entrepreneurship. You know?
Our parents didn't have financial wisdom.
Yeah.
So they taught us, go to school, go to university, get a good job, go work for a rich guy. And that is, they always taught us to think like workers. They never taught us to think like bosses. I tried to bring up my kids a little bit different, because from the beginning I said to them, think like a boss, don't think like a worker. And if I can actually make a joke here, which was quite funny.
Yes.
I've actually sent my youngest one to the shop one night to go buy something at the shop. And about 40 minutes later, he came back, and because I said to him he could keep the change, which would have been something like R2. In those days it was still money.
Yes.
And he came back a little while later, and he said to me, no, but okay, he doesn't want the R2 change, I must give him another R5.
Yes.
So I gave him another R5. And then about half an hour later, there's this commotion outside. Now, go and ask him, what is going on here, because I'm still waiting for you guys to come back from the shop. So then the oldest one said no, the youngest one sent him to the shop.
Yes.
But he only gave him a R2. But now he found out that the youngest one has actually got a R5 for doing that work. And I said to him, well, this is exactly what I'm trying to teach you. You know, he was thinking like a boss. We actually made you the worker for that minute.
Yeah.
Well, you want to wrap it up for us?
If wrapping it up, I would say, guys, there are many resources out there. Reach out to it. Use social media platforms. Stay current. Follow technology. Read as many books as you can. There's so many out there for us to learn from.
Ruben, a last word from you?
Well, definitely. Networking is a very good thing. Even if you need the money, you don't have the money, go to somebody and make some type of deal or something with them. Stay current, always read motivational books or that type of thing. And never think that you know everything, because that's your biggest mistake.
Student mentality.
And if something goes wrong, don't hide.
So I just said to him, wrap it up with 1 minute, and he's now going on to 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us on our podcast today. We'll have another podcast next week. I hope you found our discussion interesting, or just to give you some different perspectives or different ideas for you to start thinking about. And I'm just going to leave you with my slogan, which says, rather mind your own business than minding somebody else's business.
Absolutely.
So work on your own business. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well done, guys. Well done. Thanks a lot.
Artlist